GTA Online can be a very peaceful game at times. Whether you're chilling grinding some cargo or missions, or helping someone else do that, it can be a pretty nice overall experience. However, all it takes is one person who comes along and destroys your cargo or kills you non-stop during a mission to completely ruin the vibe. And at first, I always blame the players, but when you look into it a bit further, Rockstar sends very confusing messages out to its player base. They literally send you a text either from Pavel or Agent 14, whoever, telling you to go and blow up someone else's cargo for a small reward of usually $5,000. However, in their updated community guidelines, there are new rules about griefing. Breaking some of these rules can get you temporarily suspended from GTA Online, but the game tells you to do it. So who is really to blame? Is it Rockstar's fault for not being clear about what suggestions it makes to its players? Or is it the players' fault for deciding to go out of their way to grief even though the game tells you to do it? My assumption is not the latter, and rather it is Rockstar's fault for sending very confusing messages out to its player base. If they want to go about this community guideline change and be serious about it, they need to double down. But they're contradicting themselves here. They need to change their game to tell players to be more fair towards others. Maybe have a system so it only sends that messages for players above level 150. And if you're below that level, your messages do not get sent out to other players, thus they never know you're moving cargo in the first place. Although if you ask me, I think Rockstar should make it so no messages, no matter the level, are sent out to anyone. Another problem I experience quite often for some reason is getting hit by the Orbital Cannon. 5 times out of 10, it is completely random. I've never killed the person, I've never even encountered them before. They just orb me for no reason at all. The other 5 times, I either kill the person just defending myself, so their ego gets hurt, and so they need to be tied with me, or just some other dumb reason. It also doesn't help that there is no telling if you're going to get hit with the Orbital Cannon or not. You can scout people who you've killed, and if they're in their facility, then it's pretty easy to tell what's coming. And then you can go into a parking garage or under a bridge to avoid the hit, or at least try to. But in the instances where it is unprovoked, it is impossible to tell when it is coming. There is no noise, no visual, no anything, which only adds to the frustration of dying to it. Changes I would suggest making to the Orbital Cannon include a 3-time-a-week policy. Pretty self-explanatory. It can only be used maximum 3 times a week, no matter if the hit was successful or not. I've heard the idea of raising the price being thrown around quite a bit, but in my opinion, that wouldn't do anything. Raising the price wouldn't really do anything, as people who use the Orbital Cannon either do money glitches or have modded accounts, so money is not a problem for them. I truly rarely ever die to somebody who I think is completely legit and never has done a glitch, or at least their account adds up to that. Also, adding some sort of audio or visual indicator to the Orbital Cannon would allow for more counterplay. Maybe instead of charging it for 3 seconds, you'd have to charge it for 10. And during those 10, there would be a charge-up sound that would be heard by the victim of the Orbital Cannon to give them a short heads up to make it to safety, or try to. These changes would make the Orbital Cannon slightly less of a pain to deal with. However, the best suggestion I can make to Rockstar is to just remove the Orbital Cannon entirely, as it's overall pretty unfair. An annoyance that isn't caused by players, or at least directly, is traffic. Traffic sometimes can be an absolute pain to deal with. They will blatantly cut you off and crash into you, all for what? On the surface, there seems to be no reason for it, but looking back on GTA 5's roots, there may be a theory that seems pretty reasonable. Back in the earlier days of GTA Online, the consoles back then weren't nearly as powerful as the ones we have now. So, in an attempt to artificially slow players down to give the game time to load, Rockstar made traffic intentionally try to hit you in certain hotspots. This has not been confirmed by Rockstar themselves, but it seems to be a reasonable possibility as to why NPCs always try to crash into you. However, this seems to be rationally worse in lobbies with lots of players, as there is more for the game to load in overall, causing NPCs to glitch all over the place and slide around. There isn't really a solution to this, as I believe it has to do with the game's foundational code. Changing that is definitely not on Rockstar's priority list at the moment. So we will have to endure it until GTA 6. As someone who has been doing a lot of career progress challenges lately, something I find pretty unfair and annoying in general is the fact that for some challenges, it is complete RNG as to how fast you can complete them. For example, in Finance and Felony, you need to source all special crate items, some of which are more common than others, but special items are already pretty rare in and of themselves. So you just have to hope for the right special item, but also you have to hope for a special item to begin with. Pretty much every business has this element of RNG to it in their career progress, and the ones that don't require an insane amount of playtime playing that business, like sourcing 250 crates for warehouses, or 500 crates for the hangar, or one of the worst offenders, the Acid Lab, which requires you to complete 25 hooligan missions and 100 resupply missions. The hooligan missions have a cooldown of 45 minutes. So it is over an entire day of just waiting, not even doing the missions. You can add another 2 days for doing the missions as they take forever. If I were to choose which one to have, a business that requires RNG or a business that doesn't require RNG but requires a lot of playtime to complete the career progress, I wouldn't be too sure about which one I would choose. Let me know which one you would choose down below. However, an annoyance that trumps all of these in GTA 5 Online is glitches, but more so is Rockstar's policy on glitches. Rockstar will go out of their way to fix the most minor glitches to ever exist, like the many duffel bag glitches over the years or the colored jogger glitches, but will absolutely not fix game-breaking bugs that have plagued the game for a while, and I am not exaggerating that. The input glitch that has been on consoles since the launch of standalone GTA Online has still not been fixed, even though hundreds of support tickets and massive attention has been brought to it. Rockstar stays ignoring it. Although this is not some strange new habit from Rockstar. Since the start of time, Rockstar has only patched money glitches and harmless glitches. Unfortunately, I doubt this will ever change, at least in the case of GTA 5, because it is nearing the end of its lifespan, so there is no incentive for Rockstar to fix these glitches at this point. While it would be nice, it likely will not happen. However, Rockstar can use GTA 6 as a clean slate to reset their footing in terms of glitches, and hopefully their policy by then will be much different than it is now. But only time will tell.